Up on Monday, February 12th, is the 8th anniversary of the crash of Continental Flight 3407 in Clarence. It's hard to believe it's been that long already, but for our next guest, David Bissonnette, I'm sure it still feels like yesterday. David was the disaster coordinator for the town of Clarence, and he has written a book with his wife Tracy about their experience. The book is titled Flight 3407, Compassionate Leadership in the Face of Disaster. Welcome, David. It's nice to have you here.
So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
And you had such a tremendous job when that all happened, and you had to take the helm, basically, take the lead. And you did a wonderful job because you really had to be the go-between between politics, the law, the families, and you had to deal with it all. And what you learned with this, and there's the title of the book, Compassionate Leadership in the Face of Disaster. You did a good job with it. You really did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It brings us all back when we remember that night, because it wasn't that long ago. And when you first heard what had happened and you had to snap right into that role.
Yeah, it's a role of responsibility that, as you say, comes up at a moment's notice. I'm fortunate that I have more than 25 years of experience
Yes.
Responding to the needs of the community, and proud to do it.
And David, again, you had to, you really had to keep your own emotions in check because you knew somebody on that flight, so you certainly could understand almost everybody's position here. Yeah,
and exactly. So the word compassion comes into the title for that very reason. Mm-hmm. We know so many people in our neighborhoods and our community, and when it comes home like that, when a tragedy comes to your back door, that is the ultimate test in leadership and focus and staying on task. That's my job, and so those distractions, if you will, have to be managed and put in their place, and with thought. And the whole focus that comes out of this book is a culmination of those experiences revolving around 3407. But bigger picture is the leadership piece that I think we're all longing for in today's world. Mm-hmm. And I've been really fortunate to be invited internationally to speak on leadership and specifically around this event. My travels have taken me as far as Hamburg, Germany, for that very reason. The essence of leadership, compassion in difficult moments is not something that most of us are going to be faced with in our lives. You had to deal with so many people, including those first responders who were amazing, and you write about the high levels of cooperation that you received from everybody, especially that group. Yeah, and what makes an operation, and I have to call it an operation, so successful is that interaction amongst agencies. Mm-hmm. And Western New York is so blessed. I don't think our region, our citizens in this area really understand how blessed we are to have an emergency management program, emergency services in our area that work so well together. We're on first name basis with each other, and lots of experience to keep things focused on the issues so we can address them as quickly as possible. You said that 14 months ago you never would believe that you had written this all down and you had a book out. Is this the final thing for you? I mean, is it more done in your head now that you've committed this to paper and you've thanked the people, you've talked about what this is like, the lessons that you've learned? Yeah, Linda, that's a great question. This book for me ends up being a culmination of my experiences along with the tactical solutions. I can see myself writing another book. Mm-hmm. Just the process of writing a book, I got to tell you, was far more involved than I ever imagined. And between Tracy and I, and we had a really great publisher that stepped us through it in a timely fashion. It was very complicated, but it was so refreshing, and the ability to put it all on paper has been therapeutic, yeah, frankly, for me. And it sheds light on some of the things that you wouldn't normally talk about. And you say that you've still been in touch. You still have people who were affected by this crash come up to you and want to talk to you. And yes, just recently Tracy and I sat with one of the families, and the book was helpful for her. Brought some answers to questions she's asked over and over and never really got an answer for. And that just made us feel even better about capturing all of our perspective. And now it's more value for people who are directly involved as well.
Well, you know, I remember 8 years ago, and I remember as a news media trying to report that story, and you were so good about getting everybody in and having as many press conferences as you did, and to try to be as honest as possible as soon as you did know information. And a lot of people appreciated you for that and all the work that you did.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that. But it's really important that we keep our fellow citizens aware with accurate information, and being in the media, that is a challenge some days to have accurate information. I can honestly say through that entire incident, I don't think we had to print one retraction. We were delivering accurate information on a regular basis because everybody wants to know, needs to know, and should know.
And again, from what you learned, I mean, like you said, you had years of experience in disaster preparedness, but until you put it into practice, you can't know everything. But it's amazing that you've been to so many places now talking to others about possibly how to handle certain situations that can be as devastating as this.
Yeah, and so obviously in today's world, the next tragedy, the next incident is right around the corner. And that was one of the reasons Tracy and I put this effort forward, because those learnings can be applied to just about every type of incident, every type of emergency, and not just in emergency management, general leadership. Again, whether you're a vice president, a CEO, just a manager of people, compassionate leadership can be a part of our day, but we have to be looking for it.
And again, when you're out talking to other people about this, that is the one thing that can be overlooked, trying to do so many other things. The fact that you are dealing with people, you're dealing with incredible loss, and to try to keep that sensitivity out there when you're dealing with so many different agencies, and you're moving forward on this, and you have a live crime scene and everything else that goes with it.
Yeah.
Had to be terribly taxing, but what a lesson that you can now impart to other groups.
Exactly, and so that delicate balance of compassion and objective actions to be taken, we have a job to do, but we can do it with some emotion, we can do it with some tact. I use the sandbox analogy in my presentation about kids in a sandbox. Can we play together? Yeah. Can we play well together? And all of those agencies in this case played well together.
David, do you think that experience changed you?
Absolutely, absolutely. For me, the number one takeaway 8 years later is don't get so hung up on the petty things. When we're dealing with such tragedy at a massive level, the little things just don't matter anymore. You know, the little things in your day that irritate you, step back and look at the big picture.
Yeah. How's Tracy doing? Because I know your wife was a big part of this, because she was your support group, so to speak, a support group of one.
Tracy was, she's the best. She's always been right there giving me her feedback. And when you're married, that can be a lot of things. But she's always had a really great insight on emotional, at an emotional level. You know, as a guy, maybe I don't have all the emotion I should have. And she's always been able to level me out and help me see what's really important. So I really appreciated her feedback, her involvement, and she gets her part in the book here to make sure that's known.
Yeah, and again, hats off to so many people who were wonderful while this was unfolding, while we were getting information on this. Your first responders, your media people, the folks on the police. It was just amazing, like you say, how you were able to work everybody forward in the same direction, not step on each other's toes, but yet respect everything that was going on and get the answers that you were looking for. David, there'll be a lot of people who want to talk to you about this book, so where is it available? The book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and on my website, davidbissonette.com. I welcome all the contacts. We'll answer everybody's questions to the best of our ability, and look forward to seeing everyone on the outside. And now already there's been a lot of people who have gotten the book because they want to read what it was like from your perspective. They know what they may have been going through, and a lot of us here in Western New York, we're just sitting back reeling from shock. But that one person has to step forward and lead this disaster effort, and that was you. And thank you for that. Again, you did an amazing job. But I want to make it very clear, there were a lot of people helping. Lots of people did a lot of great work.
That's how we were successful.
Yeah,
So.
and that's why you wrote the book, because they're mentioned here in this book. It's an incredible book, Flight 3407, Compassionate Leadership in the Face of Disaster by David M. Bissonette. Again, available at Barnes & Noble,
And Amazon?
Amazon.com, and on your website as well.